Have you ever felt like everything started falling apart right after a specific person came into your life? Not because of bad luck, not because of circumstances, but because something you couldn't quite name, began to shift. Your peace got heavier, your prayers got quieter, and that lightness you used to carry slowly disappeared. Most people never stop to ask why, but today we're going to ask exactly that question. Padre Pio, one of the most spiritually perceptive souls the Church has ever known, warned us that not every spiritual battle happens in the invisible. He understood something that many of us overlook, that the enemy doesn't always come dressed in darkness. Sometimes he walks through your front door wearing a familiar face. Today we're going to look at 3 signs, clear, deep, and often ignored, that you may be dealing with what Padre Pio's teachings help us recognize as a human demon. Not a monster, not someone to be feared or condemned, but someone whose presence, whether they realize it or not, is pulling you away from God, from peace, and from yourself. Pay close attention to the 3rd sign. It's the one almost no one notices, until it's already done its damage. Before we go any further, if you believe in the power of spiritual discernment, write in the comments right now, "Lord, open my spiritual eyes." That's not just words. That's a posture, a choice to see clearly. Because when you begin to see, you begin to protect yourself. Stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear might be exactly what your soul has needed to understand for a long time. And if this is already speaking to something inside you, leave a like. It helps this message reach someone else who needs it just as much as you do. Now, before we dive into the 3 signs, I want to share something with you. So many people in this community have been asking for a deeper guide, something they can return to in their quiet moments, something that goes beyond a single video. That's why I want to tell you about the ebook Spiritual Secrets of Saint Padre Pio. This is a spiritual treasure that walks you through how to pray with more strength and presence, brings you powerful prayers inspired by Padre Pio himself, and offers a practical guide for strengthening your faith every single day. It includes teachings that help you avoid common spiritual mistakes, real testimonies that will renew your hope, and a simple method for drawing closer to God, not just once, but as a daily practice. This is the kind of material that doesn't just inform you, it reshapes the way you walk with God. If you feel called to go deeper, the link is pinned in the comments. Don't let it pass you by. Now, let's talk about something Padre Pio understood with a clarity that few people in history have matched. He knew that the spiritual life is not lived in a vacuum. It is lived in relationship, with God, yes, but also with the people around us. And he recognized from years of prayer, suffering, and discernment that those relationships are not spiritually neutral. Some of them lift us, some of them quietly, steadily pull us down. There's a story worth telling here. A woman, deeply faithful, someone who prayed the rosary every evening without fail, began a close friendship with someone she met through work. At first, everything felt warm. But over the following months, something shifted in her. Her evening prayer, which had always been a moment she looked forward to, started feeling like a burden. She'd sit down and find herself distracted, restless. She began skipping days, then weeks. She told herself she was just tired, but the truth was something else, something she only recognized much later, when some distance gave her the clarity she'd been missing. The friendship itself had become a slow drain on everything that once kept her spiritually alive. Padre Pio once said that the enemy does not need to destroy your faith all at once. It is enough to weaken it gradually, and that gradual weakening almost always has a point of entry. The first sign is the most subtle and the most dangerous, precisely because of that subtlety. This person doesn't attack your faith directly. They would never say, "Stop praying," or "You're wasting your time." That would be too obvious. What they do is far more effective. They occupy your time. They fill your emotional bandwidth. They create a constant low hum of drama, need, and distraction, and leave you at the end of the day with nothing left to bring to God. Think about what prayer actually requires. It requires stillness. It requires an interior space that hasn't been consumed by noise. And what happens when someone in your life makes sure that space is never quiet? When every conversation pulls you into tension or emotional chaos? When their needs always feel urgent, always feel like they demand your full attention right now, you stop praying. Not with a dramatic decision, You just stop finding the time, stop feeling the desire, and slowly your relationship with God, that tender living connection, begins to feel distant, abstract, like something from another season of your life. Padre Pio was unambiguous about this. He told his spiritual children repeatedly, the first thing the enemy targets is your prayer life, because he knows that a person who prays is a person who is protected. A person who no longer prays is a person who is exposed. So, here is the question worth sitting with honestly. After spending time with this person, after a long conversation, a visit, even just an exchange of messages, do you feel more drawn to prayer or less? Does something in you feel more open toward God or more closed off? That shift is not random, that is a sign. The second sign lives right in the middle of your emotional life, where things already feel complicated and hard to read. This person generates constant emotional confusion. Nothing with them is ever settled. Nothing is ever light. One day they're warm and present, the next they're cold, distant, critical, and you find yourself replaying conversations, trying to figure out what you did wrong, adjusting yourself to keep the peace. And that process, that ongoing effort to manage their unpredictability, does something to you over time. It erodes your inner stability. It makes you doubt yourself. God steals the groundedness that your spiritual life depends on. Here is something the Apostle Paul understood deeply and that Padre Pio lived by. God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. That's not just a poetic idea, it's a diagnostic tool. When you consistently leave an interaction feeling more anxious, more uncertain about yourself, that disorientation is telling you something. Now, I want to be careful here, because what we're talking about is not about judging another person's soul. Padre Pio himself, who faced profound misunderstanding and even persecution throughout his life, never responded to difficult people with contempt. He responded with discernment and with prayer. He recognized that sometimes a person is not acting from conscious malice. Sometimes they are spiritually disordered, wounded in ways they haven't addressed, carrying things they haven't surrendered to God, and that disorder bleeds into every relationship around them. But here is what matters for you. The origin of the confusion does not change its effect on your soul. Whether someone is draining your peace intentionally or unknowingly, the result is the same. And you are allowed, in fact you are called, to take that seriously. Ask yourself, is there a relationship in your life where you are always the one absorbing, always the one adjusting, always the one holding the emotional weight together? Where your peace, your spiritual well-being consistently takes the last seat, that is not the love Christ modeled, and recognizing that is not judgment. It is clarity. Stop. Before the third sign, I need you to really be present for this one, because everything shifts here. The third sign is not something you see, it's something you feel, and that's exactly why it goes unnoticed for so long. After being with this person, after a visit, a phone call, even a prolonged exchange of messages, you feel spiritually drained. Not tired in the ordinary sense, something deeper, something that doesn't quite recover with rest. Your soul feels heavy in a way you can't fully explain. That quiet inner light that usually guides you feels dimmer, and the distance from God that follows, it lingers. The most unsettling part. You may not immediately connect that feeling to the specific interaction. It just arrives like a fog, a heaviness without a clear source, and so you carry it, without knowing where it came from or how to put it down. Padre Pio, who carried the gift of the discernment of spirits throughout his entire priestly life, spoke about this kind of spiritual weight with great seriousness. He understood, from lived experience, not theory, that there are people who carry a spiritual disorder so deep that it affects the atmosphere around them. He encountered it, he discerned it, and he learned to navigate it through prayer, through the sacraments, and through an unwavering trust in God's protection. What he left us is a framework for taking our own spiritual experience seriously, for trusting when something feels wrong, even when we can't articulate it, for honoring what our soul is trying to tell us instead of explaining it away. If someone consistently leaves you feeling spiritually worse, emptier, heavier, further from God, that is not a small thing. Your soul is trying to tell you something. listen to it. So what do? Because discernment without action is just awareness, and awareness alone doesn't heal anything. The first and most important step is to pray, especially when you don't feel like it. Particularly when you don't feel like it. Padre Pio was relentless on this point. The moments when prayer feels hardest are often the moments when it is most needed. The dryness, the distraction, the sense that your words aren't reaching anywhere. Push through it anyway. Show up anyway. Because returning to God again and again, even in weakness, is itself a form of spiritual resistance. Go to confession. Padre Pio recommended this with an urgency that might surprise us today. He saw the sacrament of reconciliation not merely as a ritual of forgiveness, but as a real and powerful closing of spiritual doors we often don't know have been left open. In the middle of a draining relationship, the confessional is one of the most practical tools you have. Use the sacramentals of the Church, holy water in your home, a crucifix placed with intention, the rosary in your hands. Padre Pio called it his weapon, his armor. These things matter. They are not superstition. They are the Church's accumulated wisdom about how the spiritual and material worlds meet. And bring the situation to the Eucharist. Sit before the Lord with the weight of what you've been carrying and simply place it there. You don't need the right words. You don't need to have it figured out. The presence of Christ in the Eucharist is sufficient. It has always been sufficient. And then, the step that many people find hardest, set limits. There is a deep misunderstanding that runs through many faith communities, the idea that being a good Christian means having no limits, that love means absorbing everything, that faithfulness means staying in every relationship regardless of what it costs you. But Padre Pio's life tells a different story. He was known for being able to refuse certain penitence when he discerned that the encounter would cause harm. He understood that not every presence deserves unlimited access to your interior life. Setting a limit is not a failure of charity. It is an act of stewardship, a recognition that the peace God placed in you is something worth protecting, not something to be surrendered to whoever demands it most loudly. Padre Pio put it plainly: keep away from evil, even when it comes disguised. That word, disguised, is the one to hold on to. Because the things that drain us don't usually look threatening. They look familiar. They look like need. They look like connection. They can even look like love. Discernment means being honest about what we actually see, not just what we want to see. This community exists because we believe that Padre Pio's teachings are not relics of the past. They are living wisdom for right now, for the real struggles you are carrying today. If these videos have been a source of strength for you, I want to ask something simple and meaningful. Leave a like, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and consider becoming a member of this channel. When you become a member, you're joining a community of people who take their faith seriously, who choose to walk with discernment and with hope. Your support keeps this mission alive, and it means more than you know. Now let's bring this home. 3 signs, 3 patterns worth watching for in the relationships around you. The first, someone who slowly, quietly pulls you away from prayer, not with arguments or pressure, but through distraction, emotional dependency, and the constant occupation of your interior space. After time with them, God feels further away. The second, someone who generates ongoing emotional confusion, instability, unpredictability, the slow erosion of your confidence and your peace, a relationship that leaves you doubting yourself rather than grounding you more deeply in who you are. The third, someone who leaves you spiritually drained in a way that goes beyond ordinary tiredness. A heaviness in the soul, a dimming of the inner light, a distance from God that appears after specific interactions and doesn't quite go away on its own. None of this is an invitation to look at the people in your life with suspicion or hostility. Padre Pio never taught fear. He taught discernment, which is something entirely different. Discernment is clear-eyed, it is grounded in love. It sees what is actually there, without panic and without contempt. And then it acts, with wisdom, with prayer, with the courage to protect what God has placed inside you. Your soul was not made for this kind of weight. It was not made to be slowly emptied. It was made for God, for the kind of peace that, as Jesus himself said, surpasses all understanding. So here is my question for you, and I want you to sit with it honestly. Is there someone who came to your mind while you were listening to this? A face, a name, a relationship your heart quietly recognized in one of these three signs? If so, don't dismiss it. Don't explain it away. Bring it to prayer. Bring it to the sacraments. Ask God for the clarity to see what is truly there, and for the courage to act on what you see. Padre Pio once wrote to someone struggling in exactly this kind of relationship: pray, hope, and don't worry. But he also said, and this part matters, that prayer must be accompanied by prudence. That hope is not the same as passivity. That trusting God does not mean surrendering your discernment. You are allowed to see clearly. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose, with love and without guilt, the relationships that build you toward God, and to place honest, compassionate limits around the ones that don't. If these words have spoken to something real in you today, write in the comments, "I choose to protect my soul." Let that be your declaration. A reminder, every time you read it back, that clarity is not cruelty, and that guarding the peace God gave you is one of the most faithful things you can do. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. There are people in your life right now who are spiritually exhausted and don't know why. This message might be exactly what helps them begin to understand. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your spiritual life seriously enough to ask the hard questions. Walk in peace. Walk with discernment. And remember the words Padre Pio never stopped repeating, not as a formula but as a lifeline: pray, hope, and don't worry.